Hello, this is Edith Newmeyer. How are you today? I'm trying to get my computer correct because I still have my computer kind of hooked up to my camera still hooked up to my computer. So I have battery power. But anyways, I'm doing really well. And today I'm going to continue to talk about, of course, end times. And I need to really pick up some things. I have more and more viewers right now. More and more subscribers, and so I want to talk about these false teachings about Matthew. I've been talking about several people about different things about end times, and of course I always have people that tell me that the rapture is made up. No, people, the rapture is not made up, and I'm going to talk about it today. And I'm going to look at Matthew 24, and I'm going to show you where you need to put the rapture, okay? I know people are saying, oh, the rapture is something that, is made up by dispensationalism. No, the rapture is not anything that dispensationalism made up, okay? They made up where the rapture goes. That's what they made up. But the rapture as itself is not made up, okay? The rapture is an event that is in the Bible, okay? It's described in 1 Thessalonians 4 and 1 Corinthians, I believe it's 5. So it's an event that is described very clearly in various places. Matthew 24 does describe the rapture, but it doesn't describe where it should be chronologically, because Matthew 24 is not chronological. So we have to understand where these things go on the timeline, and that's what I'm going to talk about today. But again, if you are still convinced that rapture is something that's made up by dispensationalism, no. Okay? Go to 1 Thessalonians 4. That event people call the rapture. Now, why is it not used in First Thessalonians 4? Why was that word raptured not used? Because during the time of the translator, that word didn't exist, and that is correct. The word rapture is a relatively new word, okay? So that does not mean that doesn't exist. Luther translated that word with the German word rapture, okay, which is Entrückung. So I know it did exist during Luther's time, 1500. Okay, no, there's no doubt. But that word rapture, the word rapture did not exist during King James' time when he translated it. I don't know when they came up with that word. Yes, it is true. The word is a relatively new word, but it describes the event when Jesus comes for his bride. And it's not a gathering of the angels like we see in Matthew 24:31. That event happens, okay, if we look at chronologically, it happens after the wrath of God. Now let's look at that. Okay, let's look at that. So we see that in Matthew 24:29, okay, the wrath of God happens, okay? Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of heaven shall be shaken. That is the wrath of God in a nutshell. You can find that in Luke 21 and in Mark 13. You can also find that in Revelation 6:12 through 6:17. Okay? And you can also find reference to this in Joel. Okay? In Joel. Because that tells you this is the wrath of God. This is the second coming, the starting of the second coming of Jesus, the return of Christ, the day of the Lord. But that event starts with the wrath of God, which is not just one day, but it could be 4 years. Okay, it's a certain amount of time, which I'm not going to talk about right now, because it will take me away from focusing on our topic today. So here we see the wrath of God. After the wrath of God, and then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds and from one end of heaven to the other. This is not the rapture. This event happens after the wrath of God. Okay, you understand? That is when Jesus appears in the clouds for him to be seen by everybody. This is not when the thief comes in the night. Remember, you know that phrase, he comes like a thief in the night? He is not coming like a thief in the night here. Okay, you understand that. He is coming for all to see, not in secret. And I know people use that word too. Oh, there is no secret rapture. Yeah, there is a secret rapture, not for the saints, of course. Now look at this here. This is not the rapture, people. Okay? Understand that. This is not even pointing to like a thief in the night. Now we're going to see this later on, and nobody knows the day or the hour. Now we know that when the wrath of God happens, when the wrath is over, then he's coming. So he's not coming in secret here. Okay? Okay. People will know when he is coming after the wrath of God, because we know that the wrath of God is coming. We can see at the end he is coming. But we do not know when the day of the Lord starts. Okay? Now we're going to see this later on. Matter of fact, verse 36 is when we're realizing, okay, Jesus then tells us what is happening, really, this rapture. But he puts it out of order. Matthew puts it out of order. And I don't know if Matthew did it because he didn't know, or because Jesus didn't want people to know when the rapture happens, because it is a secret event, and some people still don't get this secret, okay, this mystery. Only the real believers know the mystery of the rapture. Of course, there's a lot of people that blabber things out and say, oh, the rapture comes before the tribulation. This is blabbering too, because these people are only going by what? By dispensationalism. And that is wrong. In other words, it is wrong to say the rapture is before the tribulation. That's not what this says. Okay? The tribulation happens and then the wrath of God. And people don't even understand that. They think tribulation is the same as the wrath of God. No, people. There's the tribulation for the saints. For the saints, people. It's not the same as the wrath of God, because God doesn't pour out the wrath on us. It's tribulation of the saints. That means persecution of Satan. The war that Satan is having with the saints. That's what tribulation is talking about. After the tribulation of the saints, okay, that's when they're being picked up. That's why there's not going to be any more tribulation for the saints. The sun will go dark, and the wrath of God will happen. And then everybody will see the Son of Man in the sky, okay? And the angels will gather the people, the elect that are elected to participate or be guests to the wedding, okay? But the bride is not guest. We're not guests. We have been picked out by Jesus himself before the wrath even starts. Now that is hidden in Matthew. Now, Jesus talks about it, but he doesn't talk about it, or Matthew didn't write it down until verse 36. Now, how do I know that that is what I'm talking about, the rapture? Because he says, but at that day and hour knoweth no man, not even the angels of heaven, but my Father only. Okay, you understand that phrase? Nobody knows the day or the hour. Now remember, it says what? Day or hour. Okay, day or hour. It's just saying nobody knows when Jesus is returning. Why? Because only the Father determines. Why is it only the Father? Because this points to the wedding. Okay, this points to the wedding. It's a phrase that every believer should know, and actually the Jews should know it too, because it comes from Judaism. It's a phrase that the Jews should have known what that means. Why? Because it's Hebrew wedding. It's Hebrew wedding. See, during the Hebrew wedding, the bridegroom comes and proposes to the bride, gives her a proposal, and proposal means a contract. Okay? They're going to work out their contract. What one is giving, what the other one is doing. Okay? When the bride accepts this contract or this proposal, they drink some wine, red wine, okay? And the bridegroom will go and prepare a place for the bride. And when the father says, the room's done, then the son will return and get the bride. And not until the father tells him. Okay? Not until the father tells him. That's why this phrase right here points to the wedding of the bride and the bridegroom. It points exactly to the wedding. It also points to the Feast of Trumpets. Same symbolism is used during the Feast of Trumpets. Okay? Also, this phrase, like a thief in the night, points to the same event. Why a thief in the night? Okay? Because the bridegroom comes in secret. Now, everybody says, oh, the rapture is not secret. Yes, the rapture is. But not this prior thing that we just read about when Jesus comes in the clouds. That's after the wrath of God. Okay? Do you understand? There is an event before the wrath of God that Matthew did not put where he was supposed to put it. And that is exactly 36 to the end of the chapter. That is the rapture. How do I know? Well, let's continue. But as the day of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man. Okay? Now, it continues in 39. No, in 40. Then shall two be in the field, and one shall be taken, and the other left behind. Two women shall be grinding in the mill, and one shall be taken, and the other left behind. Taken. Gathered by the angels? No. Plucked out. Plucked out. Caught up. Caught up. This is caught up. This is not gathering. Okay? The angels gathering. No, they're not gathering these people. Okay? They are being snatched out by Jesus himself. And that's why I'm seeing this is really the bridegroom coming in secret. Okay? Now, when we continue with chapter 25, we see the parable of the 10 virgins, and we see exactly when the bridegroom comes. He comes in the middle of the night with everybody else sleeping. They don't know. Nobody knows he's coming. Okay? It's not like out in the open, everybody see him. There's no mourning going on. Now, yeah, there's going to be mourning after the bridegroom comes and the foolish virgins are left behind. Yeah, there's mourning there. But everybody's not mourning when they see him, because everybody doesn't get to see him. He's only coming to pick up the bride, Nobody else sees him, because right after that is the wrath of God, which we see in verse 29. This is exactly where this rapture, this snatching out of the bride, is happening immediately after the tribulation of those days. That's where Matthew should have put it, okay? But maybe God didn't want us to know exactly when it happens. Why? Because for 2,000 years, he wanted to keep it a secret, okay? He wanted to keep it a secret. He wanted to keep it a secret from the enemy probably as well. So, but since we're living in the old days, now Satan knows it too. He's preparing for the rapture to happen. Okay? So we need to wake up. We need to know when all these stuff is happening. And we have to put Matthew in correct order, because Matthew is not chronological. And whether, God was doing that or Matthew was confused and didn't know, Matthew didn't know that it took 2,000 years, right? Now, I know a lot of people still think that the first part of Matthew is about the end times. No, people. The first part of Matthew is about the destruction of the temple. No doubt whatsoever. Okay? No doubt. Scholars will tell you that. People who did research with Josephus, they know it. There's no doubt that Matthew 24, the first part, all the way to at least verse 28, is about the destruction of the temple. And a very short, immediately after the tribulation of those days is what? It's very easy. That's when the whole second coming is starting. Not before, okay? Not before. It says here, for the lightning cometh out of the east and shineth into the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man. Okay? This can already go into the old times, right? But, or in the end times, that already, right? It's preparing you for the end times. This is how the coming of the man is going to be, right? For as the lightning cometh out of the east and shineth even into the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Okay? Here it doesn't look like a secret rapture, doesn't it? Okay? But the rapture will always be in secret, people. Okay? That's just the way it is. That's how the wedding goes. The Jewish wedding. The bridegroom comes in secret and picks up his bride. That's just the way it is. Like a thief in the night. Like nobody knows the time or the hour. Here people know it. When you see him coming in the thing, it's not in secret. Everybody can see it. Right? But when is it? That is after the wrath. Okay? And we see the wrath starting in verse 29. And then after the wrath, in 30, that's when the Son of Man appears. That's after the wrath. So where's the bride? Well, the bride was taken out. Why? Because the bride has to go into the marriage chamber first. The bride and the bridegroom has to go in the marriage chamber first before they have the big wedding. Okay? And that's why the angels come and gather the elect. The elect that made it, or the elect that continue to really believe in Jesus even during the wrath of God. Those are the elect. Those are the only elect. Okay? Those are the sealed. The sealed in Revelation 7, that's the elect. That's not the bride. The bride is the multitude that is in heaven, that was taken out before the wrath of God starts. I am sorry, but you know what? Maybe only the Holy Spirit can really, really show you that. And I really think that's what it is. The people that do not have the Holy Spirit will not see that. It's just the way it is. They will continue to follow their leaders. I had a conversation with one lady, and unfortunately I know she will never watch my videos. Why? Because she has already made up her mind who she is going to follow. And I don't want anybody to follow me. That would be wrong altogether. I can only kind of tell you, well, watch this, listen to this. Like right now, do your study about Matthew 24, and you have to pull things together. You can't just stick with that and pull a couple of verses out and say, well, this is what they mean. You will never, okay? You will never get right if you think you have to interpret. Interpretation is somebody's opinion, okay? That's what interpretation is. And we don't want opinions. Everybody is concerned about opinions today. You know, it is bad in the United States about opinion. Germany is worse when it comes to opinion. I know I have also German people or German-speaking people that listen to my English videos. I'll tell you, the German culture is so messed up right now. Okay, so messed up. And people think opinion. No, it is not about opinion. It is about facts, people. Okay? It's about facts. That's why they are so misled. Because they don't go by facts, whether it be scientific facts or whatever. Oh, it's your opinion. No. Okay? And the opinion in the Bible is interpretation. No, we do not interpret the Bible. We read the Bible, and let the Holy Spirit guide you. And that's all we are doing. Okay? That's all we're doing. And if we cannot get the understanding of what one section says, then we have to go to other sections in the Bible, like Revelation and Daniel and Isaiah and Luke and Mark. Do you understand that there's a parallel section of Matthew 24 in the other Gospels? Not all four, but at least two more. There is a parallel section of this Matthew 24 in Luke 21 and in Mark 13. And if you don't understand Matthew, because it's not chronological, then you need to go to Mark. You need to look at what kind of questions did the disciple ask Jesus, okay, when he was pointing out about the destruction of the temple. When they were sitting on the Mount Olive, what questions did they ask him? So you can understand when does really end times start, explanation about end times, okay? It doesn't start in the beginning. Jesus has to first explain about the destruction of the temple. And that takes a long time. You know why? Because that was his major concern. Because he wanted the disciples to be ready when it happens and to get out of Judea. This is not referring to end times. He was talking about them right there, the generation that was sitting in front of him on Mount Olive. And he wanted that generation to understand the destruction of the temple and that they have to get themselves to a safe place. Okay? And people don't understand that. They think everything he talks about the destruction of temple is nothing. They think everything is about the end times. But that false teaching comes straight out of dispensationalism. It's a false doctrine. It's an absolute false doctrine, people. But see, those people then that throw everything out, and that are people like that, right? They say, now, well, this is from dispensationalism. Well, but the rapture is dispensationalism too. No, the event is not. Okay? The event is not. But maybe were to put it, this timely timeline that they have is wrong. Some of the interpretations of dispensationalism, like the Antichrist interpretation, is false. And even those people that deny the rapture many times have the definition of Antichrist false. And they just go totally crazy in the wrong direction afterwards. You know, you have to go to the Bible for everything. Everything, people. Okay? For every definition. You have to find it in the Bible. And if you don't find it in the Bible, then don't believe it. And people, it is so important because we have so many false teachers. So many. Our churches are full. I'll guarantee you that most churches, 99% at least of the churches, if not more, teach false end times prophecy. Okay? This person that I'm talking to or communicating with, she is from the Seventh-day Adventist church. And I have learned quite a lot, from some of these things that are teaching about end times. But, early on, I had to decide that I have to go and do my own study. See, all I realized when I listened to these people from the Seventh-day Adventist church is that, hello, there's two opposing sides here, right? Because I grew up dispensationalism, and I'm here in this side. I'm thinking, okay, so which one is right? Well, the only right thing you can find in the Bible, and you have to absolutely study it for yourself. Because you know what? The minute you step out of dispensationalism, there's going to be somebody else, another false teacher that will pick you up. I know it because I see it constantly. They're throwing out everything about dispensationalism, and then they're right there to pick you up and say, oh, see, this is false, so you're going to have to follow us. No. You go and you study it yourself. And if you're not willing to do the study on your own, people, you will be deceived. I'll guarantee you that. You don't listen to me either. Okay? I always put underneath my videos, always put the Bible verses. Always. And you can go there and you can read those and you can study them. Okay? Because you can reference. Okay? I always reference. Look at this, look at this, look at this. And that's what you need to be doing. And then you need to continue to do your own study. Anytime you're reading about somebody's commentary, which I told you before, I wouldn't even do at first. Okay? I wouldn't even do it first because that just is going to confuse you even more. You need to really cleanse out all the sourdough. Cleanse it out. And then maybe eventually you can listen to other people. I have a tendency not to listen to people anymore. Okay? I listen to them when somebody asks me to do it. But when I go and listen to somebody and then like 5 minutes into the video, somebody's talking dispensationalism, then I don't continue. Because there's no sense in continuing a video when I know it's dispensationalism. Or when somebody is denying the rapture. I will not continue because the rapture is in the Bible. Maybe not the word, and I know it's not. Okay, I know that. You don't have to convince me that it's in the Bible. It's not. The word is not. But the event when Jesus returns for his bridegroom, when Jesus returns for his bride, of course he is the bridegroom, that event is in the Bible. There is no denying. There is no denying. Those people that deny that event are not the bride. Okay? And I have many people that then say, well, we're going to go through the wrath of God. We will part of the two witnesses. We will be picked up at the end, gathered at the end. And people, I'm going to tell you that you're only going to be guests to the wedding. Now, if that's what you want, just go ahead. If you think verse 31 is the rapture, I'll tell you right now, 31 is not the rapture. Okay? I know that. I can tell you that. Okay? It's obvious. No, it's not the rapture. This is a gathering. This is out in the open. The bridegroom is coming and everybody will see him. That is not the bridegroom coming in the middle of the night for just his bride. Because they're going into the chuppah. Do you know what the chuppah is? It's a bridal chamber where the bride and the bridegroom go to have sexual intercourse. And that's where the bride has to prove that she's a virgin. You understand that? Because when you read then Revelation 14, then you understand why these people are virgins. Somebody told me they're only men. And I have explained that so clearly when I did that video. If you've seen that video just a couple of videos ago, I talked about Revelation 14 and made it so clear that these 144,000 in Revelation 14 is the bride, and they're not just men, okay? It's just using kind of a metaphor, that's what it is, a metaphor, to show that these are virgins and they have not defiled themselves with idolatry. That's all it's trying to say. It's a metaphor, okay? Symbolism, that these people are pure, they have not defiled themselves with other gods, okay? Like the Israelites did. They defiled themselves with other God and they committed adultery. Now, if the bride, this isn't, I'm going to come to an end, but if the bride, after she accepts Jesus, okay, and after she agrees to the wedding, the betrothal, she then goes and has a relationship with other men, and the bridegroom comes back after 1 to 2 years. That's how long it can take before the bridal chambers or the rooms are done. And he takes her in the bridal chamber and she is not a virgin anymore. He can actually divorce her or stone her. She could be stoned, okay? The bridegroom would kick her out because she committed adultery. Even though she was waiting for the bridegroom for 1 to 2 years, she cannot defile herself, okay? And I know people don't understand that, but this is very important that we do understand the wedding ceremony or the wedding, what do you call those? Wedding procedures, Hebrew wedding procedures. They're not the same as ours, okay? But I'm coming to an end. Read these verses again because they're so important. And also understand this, again, this timeline, okay? This timeline that 36, verse 36, it really, and the following, should be put into the second half or start in the middle of verse 29. If you have any question, please ask me. But don't tell me, people, that I am not going by the Bible. Don't tell me. I'm just right now telling you everything. You can check it out for yourself. It's not something that I'm hiding or taking away or whatever. Okay? There's nothing wrong saying that things are not in chronological order because they're not in Revelation or in Daniel either. Most of these things, lots of these things are not in chronological order. Okay? Why? Because the people even during that time didn't even tell a story in chronological order. That's just the way it is. Okay? But they told the stories and sometimes they're kind of not, chronological. And we're going to have to figure it out. And how can we figure it out? Only through the Holy Spirit, people. Only.